Everybody thinks that willpower is the problem. And if we could just figure out how to get it, if we could just figure out how to keep it, that is the key to getting everywhere we want to be. And I just want to tell you that that is complete bullshit. Willpower is fleeting. Hi, and welcome to Boss Body. I'm Sarah Haas, and I want to thank you for being here. And it is an honor to be allowed to be a part of your day. I'm excited about today's episode because this is something that I know a lot of women struggle with. I hear it all the time from my clients, from my friends, from everyone in my life that I know that is struggling, especially with weight loss or with creating a healthy lifestyle, with exercise. And the thing I hear over and over again is I just don't have willpower. Everybody thinks that willpower is the problem. And if we could just figure out how to get it, if we could just figure out how to keep it, that is the key to getting everywhere we want to be. And I just want to tell you that that is complete bullshit. Willpower is fleeting. Think about every year in January, you've got all the motivation, you're gung-ho to start the new year and start a wellness program. Most people have lost that willpower by about the second or third week in January. And if most people are having that issue, don't you think that tells you something about whether willpower is really a real thing that you can maintain forever? So the fact is that willpower and motivation ebb and flow. Nobody stays motivated or has willpower all the time. I don't. Nobody I know does. Celebrities don't. So if you're comparing yourself to other people and thinking that the reason that they have a healthy lifestyle and that they're sticking to it is because they have constant ongoing willpower, that's not the case. That is just not true. If this isn't working, if you have been trying this over and over again and you keep blaming it on not having willpower, I'm going to tell you what the actual problem is. And the problem is that you haven't actually gotten to the root of what is going on. And there are two things at the root of this issue that you probably have not dug into deep enough and made enough changes, because this is how you're actually going to make it last. Not by thinking you're going to have willpower all the time. That's ridiculous. The two things you have to make sure are in place is a lifestyle that supports your healthy habits and having a positive mindset. These are the two things that are going to set you up for success. And these are the two missing pieces that you haven't put into place. Otherwise, this would be working for you. So first, I'm going to talk about your lifestyle. And what I mean by this is, do you actually have time built into your day to create these healthy habits? Do you have a structure in place? Because if you are too busy and too overscheduled and you have a huge to-do list and you think you're just going to add a few extra things, just small things like grocery shopping, cooking, preparing food, exercising, that's not going to happen because you already are over busy, overscheduled, and just thinking that you're going to have willpower now and that you're going to add these extra things and the willpower is what's going to keep you doing them. No, that isn't going to happen, because the problem here is that you're lacking time and you're lacking energy. And we like to tell ourselves over and over again that we're lazy, that part of not having willpower is that we're lazy. And this is so untrue. If you really think about your life and think about how hard you're working and think about all the things that you're juggling with your family and your work and everything else, you're absolutely not lazy. You're tired. Okay, so if you aren't making these things happen, it's because you're overloaded and you're so busy and now you're tired. If you work a long, long day and you've gotten your kids to school and you've done all these things and you think you're just magically going to have willpower and energy at the end of the day to go to the gym and then stop at the grocery store and then prepare healthy food, it's probably not going to happen. You're going to end up at the drive-thru. You're going to end up looking for something convenient. When you think about priorities and how you're spending your time in life, 3 things we need in order to sustain life. Well, really 4. One is oxygen, but that one's automatic. We don't have to think about that. But the other 3 are food, water, and sleep. And when we think about how our busy life is these days, what are the things that keep getting put on the back burner? Eating well, drinking enough water, and getting enough sleep. So our priorities are somehow all skewed and out of whack. And so we have to start thinking about how to make these a priority and how to scale down our lifestyle. Because if you're not able to get food, water, and sleep in, something's wrong. So I want you to think about this. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So what are your priorities? Because if somebody is asking you for a favor, or your kids are asking you to do something they could very well do themselves, or if your boss is asking you to take on extra projects that are outside of what your normal job description is, you feel bad saying no because that's a hard thing to do because you want to please everybody. You want to make everybody happy. But by saying yes to these things, are you saying no to yourself? Because this can become a really dangerous habit, and it's one that a lot of us have gotten into. So you have to think about what your priorities are. And when someone asks you to take on something, or when you just decide to take it on yourself, what are you saying no to? What are you pushing out of the way because you're simply not going to have time to do it? And then when you start making the space in your life for these healthy habits, you start to feel better. Okay, you're nourishing yourself. You're giving yourself the food and the nutrients that you need, and you're actually going to feel better and you're going to have more energy. You're going to sleep better at night. Your thinking is going to be more clear. And you're also going to be able to get your daily tasks done more quickly. So by changing the order of these priorities, instead of making everyone else the priority and you're last on the list, when you make yourself a priority and you start giving yourself the things that you need, like sleep, water, and food, you start to have more energy and you're actually more productive and you're actually able to give more to everyone in your life. So by saying no to something and saying yes to yourself, eventually that ripples out and you end up giving more to everyone in your life because you actually have the energy to do it. I actually had a really good discussion about this in episode 7 of my podcast, Control Your Schedule, Control Your Life. I talked about a lot of ways that you can reprioritize and start making yourself at the top of the list instead of at the bottom of the list, and how you can go about doing that. The second issue that is at the root of your problem and why you haven't been able to achieve your goals is your mindset. It's what is keeping you stuck and keeps you repeating the same patterns over and over again. So if you have a negative mindset and negative self-talk and your inner critic is constantly beating yourself up, you aren't going to be able to move forward. You're not going to be able to stay motivated. I talked about this a lot in podcast number 8, Love Yourself Thin. We talked all about the inner critic and how to tame that voice and quiet it down. So I encourage you to have a listen at that if you want to hear more. But it's all about these false beliefs that we have about ourselves. Things like, I never make this work and I always fail. And basically, you're looking back at the past to reinforce the negative thoughts that you have about yourself. And you can always find evidence of any point of view that you want. For example, if you wanted to prove that the world was actually flat, I guarantee you could go on the internet and you could find people and quote evidence that the world is flat. So if you are thinking bad things about yourself and then going back in the past and looking for that evidence to prove you right, you will continue to be right over and over and over again because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and that's a never-ending cycle. So if you want something different, you have to do something different. So you have to take a little deep dive into what this mindset is and where it's coming from and how you can start to turn that around. And one of the ways is to look back and find evidence that you can have success. What things have you done well in your life? Where have you been successful? What are your strengths? And then how can you apply those same successes and those same strengths to your weight loss and to creating healthy habits? What can you give yourself that you've been great at giving to others, like to your job and to your family? You're smart. You're diligent, you're hardworking, you're nurturing, you're caring, you're compassionate, you're dependable, you're creative. So how can you take all these wonderful qualities and give them to yourself as much as you're giving them to everyone else in your life? And you can do this. You can get healthy and stay that way forever. You just have to figure out where those missing pieces of the puzzle are and start to correct those and move forward into a positive way. So I hope this is helpful for you. I hope that you can take the things that we've talked about today and start applying them to your life. I would love to hear about your journey and about the positive steps that you're taking in the right direction and what a difference it's making in your life. So please leave me a comment and let me know how you're doing so that I can keep cheering you on. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon.